All right, everyone, good night. Welcome to Guru Football. Um, Tonight, we are back with another segment of Guru Transfers, and tonight we are talking about Chelsea. So, let me introduce the cast. We have Rafa, right? We have Ryan.
Hello, everybody. You hear me well?
Yeah,
Good.
man. And we have Jordan.
Good night, good night.
So, hey, everyone, what's going on? How are you all going?
Good.
Good, good.
Hey, man, I like the Chelsea kid there, I'm Jordan.
Of course,
Although,
you know me.
although that kit is now our best kit.
No, for sure not.
So, guys, you all know what we come to talk about, right? So, this season coming here, it's gonna be tough because we lost some quality defenders, and we had to replace them. We already replaced one with a great defender, but we still have some glaring holes in the squad that need to fix. So, I was actually gonna pull up the team here so we could see the squad for the season coming. Um, just now. All right, we all seen, all right? Right. Well, you see now, or Adam make it a little bigger.
I can see it.
All right, cool. So yeah, well, let's see the team there. So that's the team for our possible squad for next season, right? So we have to ship out some men. We have some men who gonna get sell, possibly go on loan and whatnot and whatnot. So Rafa and Ryan, all the feel about the squad going forward to next season.
I feeling so far. I like the players we're linked with. Um, but trying to keep a bit calm, trying to keep patient because a lot of conflicting news with who leaving, who's coming, who rejecting us every day. So I just so far so good with Koulibaly in. I like Kimpembe that we linked with, Koundé that we linked with. So I hope that it come to pass.
Mm. What you run? I mean, Rafa. Rafa, we can hear. Oh, yeah, good. Yeah, you still can't hear, boy. Something wrong with it. You gotta fix that mic. I feel like he using the phone. All right, well, as Rafa sorting out himself, Shadan, how you feeling about this squad going forward next season?
I mean, it's alright. Personally, I just not keeping up with them this summer now. They're not gonna stress me out. But looking at it, still a little shaky in the defense. But other than that, I think it could work. Based on who leaves, though, I
Yeah,
think it could work.
because most likely, as per the Twitter one, right? Right? We all don't want this guy in squad, right? So ideally, this is our defense going forward next season. Um, Possibly he might not be here. If he gets his way, he'll be here, right? Right. So as Ryan said, possibly one Kunde right here. And if Kempembe comes, this is a problem here because um yeah we're gonna have three players fighting for this unless Koulibaly moves to center or RCB. Right, Ryan?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing about buying three center backs is not only that the players that could leave is I think showing that we're going to be sticking with three at the back for maybe the majority of Tuchel's reign, because when you buy three world class centre backs, each 50 million plus, it kind of shows you that this is the way going forward. And if you look at your central midfielders, you have there's 6 to 7 central midfielders we have, which you
Mm-hmm.
think that they might be suited to a 3-man midfield. But when you buy three world class centre backs, it shows that going forward, that a 3-4-3 or 3-4-2-1 is probably what Tuchel's going to stick with. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the biggest takeaway so far from this transfer window, with who we linked with at the back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we also have a big gap here because if Aspilicueta leaves, James has no backup. Um, we have three defenders on the left hand side who we also want to leave in Emerson and Alonso and Kennedy, right? And then possibly Ziyech is gone. Broha looks well. We not by reports. It looks like he's gonna either be going on loan or he got being sold. So that leaves us just have a Tankai. I mean, I'm gonna sorry, and then well, this is our left wing. Well, inside forward, who could also rotate on the right, right? And then in the midfield, we don't know if Jorginho and Kante will stay going forward because they're both on 1 year. It's either they get a contract renewal or they leave. One of them leave. And then, well, we expect Baki to be sold. And Colorado and I don't know about Loftus Cheek, right? So Ryan, what about the rest of the squad? As you've seen some holes there. Do you think that we'll fill in like at at wing back and probably in the forward line or in midfield?
Yeah, well, we already had Sterling and then three centre backs. So what it shows me is that possibly that the next position, with all the news that are going around, it says that Tuchel wants a second attacker, especially that to replace Lukaku, etc. And Ziyech will probably be leaving to AC Milan. So it
Mm-hmm.
seems as though they want a second attacker who can play anyway in those three positions up front. Thing is with that, if you're buying three centre backs, you already have Sterling, you have an ex winger. That means we need wing back cover, which will essentially mean that we would not be doing any reinforcements in our midfield, which is arguably a position that a lot of people would probably want, center defensive midfield. And personally, I would want someone to replace Ziyech. I would want. I was on the Nabri high for 2 days until it crushed my dreams. Um, Leroy Sané, I would probably want that too. But then it all goes back to one point, right? I told you, if you buy three centre backs, world class quality, 50 million, you're not going to go back to a back four, 3-man midfield. So that's other attacker is essentially going to replace Mason Mount at that right wing position.
Mm-hmm.
So ideally, I would have wanted a 4-3-3, but it isn't looking like that would happen. So that
Yeah.
other attacker, maybe it might be a more striker than a winger.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a Memphis Depay, who I probably wouldn't want. But it seems like that's the route they're gonna go. They're gonna try for two centre backs, another attacker, and a wing back.
Yeah. And it's all right. So centre back, wing back, and another attacker. So who you guys have as your ideal but realistic players for those spots? So we can start at centre back. And well, I know who Rafa wants.
Kunde.
Rafa.
Kunde Ziman. You can hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, Kunde Ziman, I'm telling you. I rate him really highly. I think he slots right into that right centre back position. And I think if we sign him, that right centre back becomes so strong because you have him and Trev there. I think he can play a multitude of positions as well. I think he would be ideal if Tuchel ever wants to switch to a back four. Can also slot in there. With his case, I mean, I don't really rate him as a right back. I've seen a few of his performances there. I wasn't too impressed, but a lot of people do say he can play competently as a right back. I think the fee, when you watch, you go in fee for centre backs, given his age, given his experience, and his ceiling, I think it's a no-brainer really. So it has to be Kunde for me. Kimpembe for a lot of reasons. I don't. While I wouldn't be totally against the transfer as much as let's say Nathan Ake, um, I don't really rate the transfer as much. I know Ryan has been defending a lot of the Kimpembe links recently, and to be fair, he's brought forward some really good points with respect to Kimpembe. But I do think of the two, Kunde would be the better signing.
So, what about you, Ran? I know you gave your two earlier, but if you had to ideally pick one,
Or pick one.
yeah,
If I had to
if
pick
I was
one to this, well, if I had to pick one, if we only getting one, I would go with a right centre back because Koulibaly has been playing left in Napoli. Even though for his country he plays on the right and he's a right footer, so that means he
mhm.
could play on the right also. If I had to go, listen, if I had to go to a linked player, I would go with Kimpembe because listen. So basically, I did like a bunch of thread series on Tuchel and his philosophy or whatever. So I was forced to watch a whole set of PSG matches throughout his entire career. I know you might say, "Oh, well, that was back in the day in PSG." I'm just judging it from that.
Mhm.
Um, but when I now start watching, I always thought Kimpembe. I thought this man was Toots, right? I was like, "Who's this man?" But as I watch more and more matches, I probably watch more than nearly 30 or more matches at PSG. He just impressed me every single time I see him. Not only that, he's defensively really good and aerially really good, but what impressed me the most is how tactically uh, astute and how good his position is in attack, meaning being able to get forward and creating the perfect angles to create those passes going forward. And I think that's something that we really need from our back three. Efficient ball player, and I think that he could bring that same tenacity that Rudiger had together with the ball playing ability. It just impressed me how he could create those angles from a four at the back, far less what he could probably do in a three at the back, and that's probably why I'd want him so much. Not only that, but physically, I think that he would cope with the Premier League way better because in PSG aerially, he's been one of the best defenders in that league this season. And I think that at only age 26 or 7, he can improve a lot under Tuchel. And just how we saw that uphill improvement from Rudiger, I think we could see that improvement from Kimpembe on that left hand side. Um, and this last point, it could probably give us a good transition to go into a back four. Because even though Kunde plays good in a back four in La Liga, I still think he might struggle with his size or whatever playing in a back four in the Premier League. So that's probably all the reasons why I would vouch for him above Kunde if we had to pick one. But make no mistake about it, I really want Kunde too. So I would essentially want both of them to come in.
Yeah. And Rafa knows that was my thing with Kunde was his really his size because the Premier League is full of big forwards and big players, and he's a small guy in height and in size. But I know he's a bulldog when he's ready.
But
So
you see, when I had first tweeted about Kimpembe like 4 weeks ago, he used
mm.
to want to tweet me saying not pretzel Kimpembe or something like that.
Yeah, we have a Chelsea group on Twitter, and that's how we call him, Pretzel. But yeah, just like Rafa, I'm not too convinced on Kepembe, but reading your thread, it kind of opened my mind a little bit more about him, and you made a good point with Rudiger. Who knows? He possibly could have the same transformation because we all know Rudiger before Tuchel was struggling to get in the team. And I really think the three at the back helped him a lot now there. Because he was able to hide some of his defensive inefficiencies. I don't know if you agree with that, but it also helped him be able to play the ball forward more without having to have to worry about being not having cover because he has Thiago there and then he had Aspilicueta to help in those instances.
Yeah, no, I agree completely because I always say like the aggressive nature of Rudiger, instead of trying to, calm it down, is better to harness it. And I
Mm,
think that playing in a back three, he was able to press forward and always man mark and push forward into midfield and defend there, which complements him in a back three. But the thing is, in a back four, he does it also, which could get us into a lot of trouble. So yeah, same thing with
mm,
Kimpembe probably. But last thing on Kimpembe, I just watch all the reactions to him wanting to stay at PSG or the links to us, and generally PSG fans on Twitter really wants him to stay at PSG and really loves him, and that shows a lot though about a player. Just watch like anytime you're linked with a player, watch how the fans of that club react to see if they want him to leave or want him to stay, and
mhm.
majority of the fans want him to stay, and that says a lot.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does us a lot. So who knows? He could possibly come to Chelsea and he could be a really good centre back for us. Who knows? Jordan, we didn't come to you yet. Who's your ideal centre back?
Well, my actual one isn't realistic, so I won't repeat it. But I will go with Kunde as well. I think that he has a really good build up, really good crosses and stuff. But not only that, he have that dog in him, and he love a good fight, and I love a good fight as well. So I will back him any day. So I think that we should go with him.
But who was the centre back you wanted?
Do you want me to repeat that? I said it on a pod before.
Was
It was Max.
who?
I think it
I
was Max
wanted I
Kilmon.
wanted Max Kilmon, yeah. Very unrealistic, but I would still take him any day. But anyway,
Yeah, I know you feel like about that boy.
I don't know. I don't know. Now, how about unrealistic target too? Who I'd want is Milan Skriniar from Inter
Yeah,
Milan to
same,
play RCB.
same, same,
Plus,
same.
that man is a beast, honestly. In
Yeah.
attack and defense, he could do everything.
And
I think
I
he
was
would
telling,
fit in perfectly.
yeah, I was telling Rafa that is the guy who I wanted for RCB. That guy, yeah, he's unreal.
RCB, IP. There you go. Nah, but yeah.
So yeah, so we're moving on to the next position. What was the next position? We say it was midfield or wing back.
we need to talk
Uh,
about right back,
Yeah, you feel
yeah,
like
we need to talk
yeah,
about wing back
yeah,
because
all right, wing
honestly,
back.
we have to expect a Rich James 2 month injury somewhere down the line.
Correct.
Same goes
Exactly.
for Kovacic. We need to expect these two brothers to be out for at least 2 months or 3 months in the season.
Yeah. So we all ideally realistically want at at right wing back to possibly help Rich James through this season.
Well, the guy who is linked with Santa Claus, that guy, he actually going to Marseille now. So
Hmm.
I think he was a good option for 10 million. That would have been really good to
Hmm.
have him there. But honestly, I hope that we scout correctly and not get somebody mediocre that is on our books for 5 years who is not good. Because I mean, we can't have a Ross Barkley coming in again. We can't have a Batshuayi. We can't have these kind of
Hmm.
players anymore for 5 years. So I tweeted it today that if we can't get Alonso and Alspi out, I'd rather just keep them for 1 more year as backup rather than signing one or two persons who are less than mediocre on for 5 years and we can't even get them to loan out or sell them. I just don't want to repeat that mistake again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally understand. Who I actually wanted to see, and and he wasn't vaccinated, was to go on the tour, was Duan Sterling. Um, I'd like to see him play at right wing back, in preseason to see if he could have possibly been a good enough backup for Rich James, but because of his vaccination status, we didn't get to see that. Um, I don't know how you feel about it, Ryan. I don't know if you think he could have probably filled that gap for us. No, not he's already a Chelsea player.
Um, I really, I think, I don't know. I haven't watched much them.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I haven't. But I think that he would probably more suit right back and right center back. The way he's built and stuff like that, because I know that Tuchel likes his wing backs ideally to act like wingers and hog
Mm-hmm.
that touchline, and he ideally likes his wingers to drop as number 10s. But in Chelsea, he seems to do it differently because our wing backs probably don't have the physicality to hog those touchlines and beat players 1v1. So instead, he's having our wingers hog the touchlines and he's having our wing backs invert a little bit. And it might sound weird. I know I said this on a podcast and people are watching me real weird, right? But if we can't buy somebody, and all they can watch my weird now too, even though they can't see my face. But if we can't find our right wing back, right? I wouldn't mind having Conor Gallagher as right wing back. Honestly. Nah, hear this. When I first say it too, I was like joking, right? I feel like Tuchel is be like that too. He'd be joking when you think about it, right? And then after it started to hit me, this could probably work because if you watch Conor Gallagher heat map at Crystal Palace, I don't know if you could bring it up on Sofa Score or something on your screen.
Let
But
me
if
see if I
you
can get.
get his heat map, it's literally on the right flank, in right wing back positions, going straight up the right wing. And I was thinking about Ruben Loftus-Cheek as an inverted right wing back, how Conor Gallagher might be able to fit that role better as a backup for Rich James. Like worst case scenario, eh? I'm not saying I would just want to start in right wing back. I just saying worst case, instead of buying somebody who do fit in, probably Conor Gallagher. I just seen Rafa face right now, man. Just thinking.
Ah, I don't know Rafa thinking already. Rafa, get your thoughts now.
Ryan,
Conor Gallagher, bro. Tell me.
you see why it's had to come out for Ryan? No. No, no, I understand what he's saying. I actually going into the season, I was thinking that Connor could have even been a good option for that kind of right-sided number 10 because of that same reason. Um, but I think at the same time, wing back is very different. We saw all three of our wingers. Especially Callum and Pulisic, both struggle there. And they're wingers. So it's not quite as easy as saying, well, he's played out wide before he drifts out wide, so he should be a wing back. But I do understand where you're coming from. Um, but I do think that we would see the same issue as we saw with the likes of Cho, with the likes of Pulisic. I think even GH played there quite briefly, but albeit in a different role. Yeah, seeing the heat map there now. So yeah, you see he does like to drift, but I would, if we can't sign anyone, and I don't think we will sign anyone because I really think the wing back market is quite limited. Um, so I think we should just focus on giving Dujon a chance. He will have limited minutes to prove himself because I think the only preseason game he'll be able to play is against Udinese. Um, so you have that. Uh, I think going along the same train of thought as Ryan, um, I think you have Loftus Cheek there as an option. Um, I don't foresee him getting a lot of minutes in the middle of the park this season. I think Connor coming back. I think you have Kova, you have Kante. I really don't see Jorginho leaving, unfortunately. um, and we saw, even though it was a preseason game, even though it was just Club America, we saw Mason did pretty well in that kind of CM spot, which I would like to see him play against Charlotte, against Arsenal. Um, I'd really like to see how he does in a deeper role because I think everyone has been calling for it. So I don't see Ruben getting a lot of minutes there. So it would be nice to see if he can kind of make the right wing backup spot his own. Um, I think where we need to focus on signing, I know I just kind of going off on a tangent here, is left wing back actually. I think that's more important to find a signing because of we just really don't know how Chilwell is going to come back this season. In any case, I think his minutes are going to need to be managed. Um, I really like. I know I always clown Kwan about Bundesliga, but I really like Rom. I think he's fantastic. I love him. I think he'd be a great signing. And but I don't know what the price range is really on him. I hear 20 to 30 million. But yeah, those are my that's my wing back opinions.
Now let me redeem myself here before people watch this video and say, "Listen, this man talk, come on here, talking about freaking Conor Gallagher, right wing back." Listen, realistically and ideally, I don't know why I decided to say that for, but realistically and ideally, I'll probably go for somebody like a Serginho Dest who could play both flanks. If he can't get a wing back, like both two wing backs, right, a left wing back and a right wing back, ideally get somebody who could be good on the two flanks because at this point it seems that we might keep Emerson to be a backup to Chilwell, and we might need a good backup for Chilwell. That's why I really wanted Perisic because it seems that Chilwell might need some time to get back that intensity and to get back into full form. And the last thing you want him there is trying too hard on the field and re-injuring himself. So I would have really liked Perisic. Rom is somebody who I really like also. Um, Kostic is the next person who I really like. But I haven't seen us linked to any of those players yet. I haven't. It's so weird because we have links to get Alonso and Aspi out. But in Tuchel's interview, when he said that Aspi is going, he'll need a third centre back. So it's like, what about wing back? And that's where I'm so confused about.
Yeah, yeah, same here. And then I saw him use Kennedy as right
Oh
wing back last
god.
game. Yeah. So I
It
was
is
like,
exactly what I was saying. We can't
yeah, I
have
was
these
like,
men come like like new generation of Kennedys coming for
yeah,
5 years.
Zappacosta and these guys. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But this is not a bad option, you know. This is not actually not a bad option. And I was actually talking to Fish the other day, and we were talking about possibly because I know we were linked to Cavallo for a while back,
Yeah.
and I was telling him that because our Cavallo is he's also competent or really competent at left back. So if he signs someone like him, he could also play as a backup for Chilwell. Because he's really good going forward. I don't know how you all feel about that.
I was actually gonna say him. I really like him.
Yeah. Nah, honestly, I believe that if you could get like if we could have two wingers on at the same time who could hug that touchline, I really think that our two wing backs could, you know, drift in a little bit more inverted. And once they are good ball players, they don't need to be, you know, best 1v1 players, etc. Because as I said, somebody would already be hugging that touchline. Once they are good ball players, say for example, like a Kunde, even though he might not want him right back or right wing back, but he could do a job as a backup. I could see why Tuchel would probably want a Kimpembe who played left back a lot of times. So in case Chilwell is injured, Emerson is injured, he could invert in and play those passes to our wide winger like a Sterling, etc. And then also on the other hand, other side, I could see why he'd probably want a Kunde. So he's kind of killing two birds with one stone there, getting
Hmm.
his three centre backs down and also getting, those two could play in full back roles because um once you have wide wingers covering there, that means you don't necessarily need your wing back to overlap too much, especially if your midfielders like Kovacic and stuff could join in attack too. But that's all me compensating there during
Yeah.
this window because ideally you would want a wing back who could do both invert and overlap, who could take on players and invert and play those passes from midfield. You want the best, but just in case we don't get the best, I don't mind settling using our wide CBs like a Kunde or Kimpembe in fullback positions
Mm-hmm.
until we could get proper wing backs, maybe in January when it's more feasible, or next summer. But
Yeah.
yeah, so maybe that could probably work.
Well, ideally, we all want a 4-3-3. So
Oh, Tuchel, bro.
boy, that 4-3-3. I think our wing backs are more suited to be full backs. You know, and our midfielders are more suited for well, probably not N'Golo Kante. Is more suited for midfield three, and because I really think our midfield three will suit us so well. As Rafa said earlier, where we could have Mason in midfield, we could um Kof on the next side, but then we don't have a proper DM. So that 3-man mid would always be a problem because you can't play Jorginho there, too slow. And while he does have the capabilities of playing the position, he is too slow, and you don't want him behind. I mean, in front of, let's say, Thiago Silva and somebody else. Pressure. So I could see why he's sticking with the three man defense. But yeah, I guess we could move on to the last position in the team we would like to fill, which is attacker. Most likely it would be a striker. So what you all thinking? Rafa, go ahead. If you have somebody in mind.
I'm gonna drop a controversial one. After we signed Sterling, I don't think that we need anyone up front. Like that's my honest opinion. I think Rafinha would have been great. I think somebody like Nkunku would have been great. Um, One has been priced out of a move. The other has gone somewhere else. Obviously, there are a lot of top talents out there. Um, I saw you talking about Musa Diaby earlier. Not that he necessarily fits our system, but I'm just saying a lot of top talents are either being priced out of a move or just are not for sale this summer. There's no one I can see that we can feasibly get that would um, improve the team right now. Right now, so I think I would actually like to I would prefer to keep um, Hakim Ziyech, the likes of Pulisic, Callum. I would like to have them here for another season. Um, we have Sterling now. I want to give Bro a chance. I want to have Kai lead in the line for a season. Um, and I'm honestly, I'm quite happy with that front three. I think a lot of changes need to be made in terms of how consistently we play that front three. I think Tuchel needs to find what his best front three is. I think we suffered a lot with that last season, constantly changing the front three. And let's be real, it wasn't a case of rotation. He was just trying to find different solutions. So I think he needs to settle on his front three, let three players get chemistry, and have other players coming in and have other players improving all the time. And even so, you have a wild card like Timo Werner. So me personally, as of right now, looking at the market, looking at who we have, looking at the manager that we have, and also, we have to be realistic in the sense that we have other positions that we still need to spend on. Um, we don't have an unlimited budget, and the going price for forwards these days are astronomical all the time. So I'm quite happy. I really can't name anyone right now who catches my interest. Obviously, I'm not saying that there are no names out there. Maybe you'll come up with one. A name like a Depay, it doesn't. I don't think it makes sense for me personally. I would rather have Kai going through the middle, give Broya a chance. give our the rest forwards that we do have right now a chance. Nothing against Depay, but I'm just saying names along those lines. They don't really get me excited. So that's my take on it. I know it's not a popular take, but I'm quite happy with who our front line is right now.
So Ryan, what about you?
Well, no, I think it need to make sense. And it really need to make sense because I was also of the belief if you're getting a second starting winger, I mean, if you're buying somebody for 50 million or more, that you would have to go to a 4-3-3. You'd have to bring Mount into midfield and go to a four at the back. But if we're really buying three centre backs, 50 million each, then I would say maybe not an ex winger. You know, same thing. Maybe we could, um, yeah, maybe not an ex winger. We could stick with Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi, Sterling, Havertz, Mount, because preferably I don't like Mount in winger positions because listen, in a 4-3-3, a RCM attacking eight, they would have to get into number 10 positions, and then a winger would drop into number 10 positions. The difference is the body position where you receive the ball. So when you're at a wing and you're dropping with your back behind goal and defender on your back and you have to receive the ball between two lines, I think Mason Mount struggles. There's very few players who could really flourish on that turn and deliver that pass. But when Mason's allowed to start in deeper positions and have his body face goal, and he has that time to play those passes, I think he's a really good central midfielder. And he could roam into those number 10 areas and even get into the box to score. But it's all about body position. When he's facing goal and has that time to see passes, like you could see it in preseason, that when he had time on the ball, he was making those passes. So I would have ideally, I think our best front three would need two wingers who could take on players 1v1, 1v2, 1v3 in wide and inverted areas. But that would only make sense if we go to a 4-3-3 and have that three man midfield. I think Rafinha was a position that I think a lot of people were saying that Rafinha was being taught off to play right wing back and Reece James to play right centre back. And then Rafinha could have pushed up as that right winger, and then Mason Mount, who was starting as a right winger, could drop in as a number 10. But that plan seemed to fail now. So if we go in with that three centre backs, long story short, maybe we don't need an ex winger and we could go in for actual good wing back cover instead.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. Then even if we're going for someone, as Rafa said, there is nobody right now who excites me. Right. The last person was Serge Gnabry, and well, we're gonna sign his contract. So
That one man who's excitement, well, I'll take back that whole 2 minutes and I'll say, burn that. I don't care what formation play. Nah, Rafael Leao. I love that player. Like I was writing on Syria like this whole season, and that's probably one of the best players in Syria.
mhm.
Literally, like one of the best 1v1 players, and he's just getting better and better. And I feel like soon he's gonna have that Vinicius like season where he's just gonna become the best winger in the world. And I think this season might be it. And I wouldn't be surprised if teams like Real Madrid or I hate to say it, Barcelona will be in for him next season. But if that's a player who we're linked with, because I think Bowley seems to like to have relationship with the other teams he's like negotiation with, and if we were to sell Ziyech or have sell Ziyech to AC Milan, then maybe there'd be a possibility of bringing Leao for less than the high price they call in. So that's the only one I'd probably say I'll throw out logic for if that name pop up. But other wingers now like Asani, etc., even though I'd like them here, it's not something that I feel that we need right now with our trade back.
Mhm. Yeah. Shodan, what do you think? You echo the same comments?
Yeah, of course. I always believed that the men could catch themselves. That's why Timo is my favorite. So I think Ziyech could catch
Timo.
himself and he will be perfectly fine. And if Broya leaves, you put Alonso up top, tell him volley something. You have it right there. We all good.
You can say Alonso on top, yes. I saw on Twitter today somebody said, well, if Man City could give Cancelo number 7, then we could give Marcus
That's
Alonso number 9.
no, no, 9. Yeah, yeah.
Why not?
Maybe he'll break the curse. But yeah, guys. So guess that's it there. You know, we had a great talk. I I would have loved to go into this a little longer, but you know, we have things to do to our life. So so guys, so this is the end. Everyone have a good night. You know,
Same to you, bro. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
yeah,
Thanks
yeah.
for
Good
inviting us.
discussion.
We'd love to have you guys again. All right, and
Yeah, definitely.
me and Jordan are always here. So anytime you guys want to come onto the show, just give me a holler and we make something
Say
work.
no more. Sounds like a plan.
All right. Thanks.
All
Thanks.
right,
Yeah.
guys.
Have
All
a
right.
good night, guys.
All right. Bye.